Okay. You guys hear that? A little while ago, my dog got a new puppy. But we're not gathered here today to talk about my new pup. Today is February 1st, and it's almost 10 a.m. We are doing the whole Tuesday Talks thing, gathering with church communicators. Sometimes it includes pastors. It's the resource for, I sometimes say church communicators, but it's really the church liaison, the communications liaison. It's that person that it might be the pastor, might be the communications staff, but it's the person that is going to maybe try a new leadership role for the church, that's going to really end up playing a really vital role for the church, both in sharing the major news from the local church to the districts or the conference or the general church, or getting information from those different channels and filtering it over to the right people at the local church. It's a great new leadership opportunity. I think it is because there's no, it's not really a scary position where, oh no, I had to have known more about the church, or, oh, I could mess up everything if, it's just getting the information to the right people. It's a great position for someone that might have attended some new leadership classes, but didn't actually say, all right, I'll sign up to do that. Maybe somebody that's interested in participating in a different committee in a certain role, but still kind of, I don't know. This communication liaison position is helpful for the communication situation, but it's great for the individual to learn more about their church community, about the global church, and feel good about their part in making a difference. Even though all it is just getting information from one place to another, it's that connection, that relationship that they're really fostering between church to church and districts and conference and all that. I think they'll be really surprised at just how active your local church really is as part of this great connectional church system that we have. Okay, so today I'm going to get us started with, let's see, I think since Paul Gomez is here, I think he might be available to talk to us. Paul is our Desert Southwest Conference first elect lay person. Did I say that right? For general conference, and because of that, then also for jurisdictional conference. I think that's how that works. And yes, thank you. And we have a counterpart to him, which would be a clergy person, Dan Hurlbert, who's our first elected clergy person to that same role. So they represent us just like our lay person or lay member to annual conference from your church represents your church in your vote and your say and whatever at annual conference. Paul Gomez does that for us for the laity at general conference and Western Jurisdictional Conference. But it's not really just all about those events. Turns out there's a lot more to do, a lot more to be involved or whatever to be a delegate. And part of that connectional, we need to hear from you thing, that's kind of the work that the delegates are in right now. Paul, can you tell us about this new survey that you guys have out there?
Yeah, good morning, friends. Good to see all of you. It's good to see some familiar faces and also some new faces. So I'm here to just kind of talk about a brief survey that you can complete for your feedback on some of the really exciting and diverse work that came about over the summer as a jurisdiction, where we had the opportunity across all of the West Coast as United Methodists to work on what we think the United Methodist Church or an expression of United Methodism could look like in the future. And it's not something that we're trying to make happen tomorrow or in the next month. It's just kind of how do we talk about changing the culture in a way that gets us to where we can achieve an equitable future and also something that's really for everybody. So basically all that to say, this work happened from about the spring through the rest of the summer last year in 2021. And where we're at right now with that work is in a reporting phase. So what we're asking is each of our annual conferences and leaders through our annual conferences to, if you have the time, take a chance to read through some of these reports, really wrestle with what's listed there, let us know what you like about it, and also challenge us on what you definitely don't like about it. It's something that I think everybody has the opportunity to really put their input inside of our Google Sheet that we've sent out for everybody, and just give you the opportunity to, share your thoughts and your opinions on the work of the jurisdiction. This is some really focused work. So it's not something that, is going to change, how we do digital ministry or how we do digital collection for online giving. These are really different, huge overarching ideas. So they're really things that you want to maybe sit with for a little bit of time. There's really no due date. We're trying to get as much of your responses in the next month or so. So feel free to share this survey with your annual conference. You can find it right now on dscumc.org. Right on the homepage, it's under featured news. And it's titled Feedback Request from General and Jurisdictional Conference Delegates. That's us. If you click on the link, it'll take you to a separate page where you can fill out the survey. I think the button says Start Survey. And then once you're there, you can click on the survey, and then you can read through all of the reports that's on our Google Sheet. You can also see all of those reports linked several times throughout the Google Sheet in case you don't know what they look like or haven't had the chance to read them. And then you could go back and take your time to respond to those questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Dan Hurlbert. And you can get in contact with us probably through Christina right here. But if you needed to contact me, I'm sure that there are many ways to find me, but the easiest one would be if you email me, pgomez, pgomez, at umcom.org. And what we really want to know from you is just, how does this make you feel? Every delegation is working through what that looks like for their annual conference, and we just want to see how similar and different that looks like across conference lines and states. So that's really all I have to share with you. If you have any questions, again, feel free to email me at pgomez@umcom.org, and I'll be happy to talk with y'all. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Paul. We really appreciate it. I know he works for United Methodist Communications in addition to being our lay delegate. So he's a busy guy. He's always working on a bunch of different things. He put his email address in the chat, but I will also include it in the follow-up message for this Tuesday talk. I'll also share, I'm going to share my screen right now so I can show you some of the stuff that he was talking about. Let's go out of there. So, wait a minute. This is the article that no, not that one. Nope. I thought I had it up. There it is. This is the article he was talking about. It was in our February. Oh, it is in the newsletter today. I thought it had already published, but it will be publishing later today. And so this is the button he's talking about. It takes you to a Google form. But what I wanted to show you as well is if you go into the survey, you'll get links to this Western jurisdiction page to get you, and it'll take you to the reports, I think, directly to the reports. But this page here, which I will also link in the follow-up message, these are the different reports. You'll see that there's a video summary as well. This is, it is what it is. It's a video summary of all of the reports. They do a great job of explaining the overall concepts of each report. So I don't know if you want to start with watching that first, just to pique your interest. And if there's a certain area that you want to find out a little bit more about, then click into one of these reports to learn more. If you've got the time, start out reading all the reports, and then watch the video summary if you want. Either way, that part, however you want to work it out. The big deal is to make sure that you fill out, oh boy, I'm going to get there. There it is. Fill out the survey and get your thoughts across to our delegates so that it can be a part of this bigger conversation. Okay. So questions about that? I think the idea is it would be great for you guys to even copy that short little paragraph and the survey link. So I'm in the Tuesday talks. You know what, let me share my screen one more time. In case you're wondering, when you see a button like this that goes to a link, one way to copy the link, like if you can't just copy everything, because then you'll get some weird gobbledygook text about the code to make this button look like that. So when you want to copy and paste into your newsletter or email, you could right click on the button. And I don't know if you can see the little window that popped up. For me, it popped up copy link address, but I can choose that. Or you could just go ahead and click the button and then go up here to the URL, copy that link and add it to your newsletter as clickable text, something like right here, how this is green, that means that's a text. Sometimes you'll see click here to access blah, blah, blah. So you might want to do that instead of having this really long link. Oops, I don't know what I just did. Instead of having that really long link in your newsletter, which might seem like, what is that? Is that some virus you're about to give me? Just make it as a clickable text. And if you want some help one-on-one on how to do that, I'm happy to help you. You can email me at communications@dscumc.org, and I'll show you how to do that. All right, next, any questions about that then? No? Okay, so the next item that I want to talk to you guys about, and thanks, Paul, you're free to get going to your next meeting. You can stay with us, whatever you need to do. We appreciate your time. Okay, so the next big deal thing is the annual conference mission project. I actually had this available last week and I totally forgot to mention it, so my bad. You can always find it quickly, the mission project information, by going to dscumc.org/mission-project. So here at this page, you can think of this as your repository for anything having to do with the mission project, things that you as the communicator will want to copy and paste into your communications, however you want it to be. So this first paragraph just kind of explains what you're going to see here, what the mission project was about. And I want to bring your attention to, where is it? Oh yes, this sentence right here. To besides using the information that's on here in your church communications, make sure that you contact Billy Fidlin, our Director of Justice and Outreach, by June 3rd to give her your church's totals, because she ends up reporting this out during annual conference. So here what you have is the very first article that you can click on the title to open up the whole article. I'll go ahead and do that now. There we go. This first part explains what this is all about. You can do this actually as two separate items. You could do an article that's just this part that explains here's what we're doing. And then this is the actual first article from one of the, I think it's a DACA student. Yep, there she is now on DACA, that it tells her story. And so every month, the missions team, or well, Billy is getting together different articles or testimonials. Some of it is information, like just the facts. What's the difference between a DACA student, a dreamer, that sort of thing. How is the money going to be used? Things like that. She's going to have those as some of the articles that come out. So it'll be a whole journey of education about helping these students in what they're calling the long journey. So that's the theme for the mission project. It's called the long journey, and it's scholarship funding for DACA and undocumented students in the United States. Okay, questions about that? Okay, so like I said, you'll find more articles as they are published on that same dscumc.org/mission-project page. All right. And we will be including them in conference news as well. You'll see that first one in today's newsletter. Okay, next item. Okay, so I had some local church questions. The one that I'm ready to share with you about is, are there any social media posts or other resources for Black History Month? So we had, I did some searching from United Methodist Church, and not everybody is a fan of the outreach company, but it is the company that the United Methodist Church is using right now, or at least United Methodist Communications, to share free social media graphics that you can download and use however you want. So I will share my screen again. There we go. And those are here. So one of these, it might be this one, that's the older page that when I reached out to UMCOM or InfoServe, I can't remember, they said that, oh, we're not updating that page. It's really not our United Methodist Church. You can see it's outreach that is providing this for our churches. So they had this page that has a little bit more options for Black History Month, but this is the latest version of the social media shareables, and I'll send you the link to both so that you can choose from it, whatever you want to use. And then I also heard from our DSC Race Coalition. Let's see, what did they say? They said that they're setting up a webinar for Black History Month focused around health disparities in the Black community during a time of COVID. That's the official title. The areas of focus will be HIV/AIDS, mental health, and physical health. And the event is likely, not for sure, but likely going to be on February 16th or the 17th in the evening. And they'll have a concrete date and information, and we'll share news about that as soon as their speakers are secured. So details will be available on the DSC Race Coalition page. The shortcut for that is just to go to dscumc.org/race, and that will bring you to the same page that I'm showing you now. Oh, no, I had it. dscumc.org/race. There we go. It does work. Okay, it brings you to this page. I'll include the link to this page. Do you have any questions about that? Comments? No? Okay. All right, let me get to the next item. Okay, so then event reminders. So the gathering, this is a clergy event that happens every year. It's only for clergy. In fact, one year I needed to present something. I don't remember what it was. I was allowed to be at the campus or the event campus for maybe like the 3 or 5 minutes that I had to present, and then it's out of there. So any lay leaders, any laity that's like really excited about, oh, I keep hearing about the gathering, sorry, this is not for you. There's plenty of other events for laity, but this one is a closed event for clergy. And I don't know what happens, but I know that all clergy go to it, and registration for this year's event closes on February 11th. So be sure to contact your pastor, your clergy persons at your church, and make sure that they've registered. And what else? It would be the pastors that are currently serving at one of our churches that are expected to attend. And if they can't, then they're supposed to ask permission from their district superintendent if they need to miss it. Now, this is an in-person event, so proof of vaccination is required. I know the Board of Ordained Ministry has been doing like a lot of intense planning to try to make this as safe as possible, since it is an in-person event. And what else? There's instructions that are available. I think it was sent to all clergy late in January. But yeah, registration is available. Do you have any questions about that? Comments? No? Okay. I am going
Christina,
yeah. Go ahead.
can you hear me?
Uh-huh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This is Bob Cutlip. I think Julie just stole my thunder. historically, it was called Pastor's School for years and years, and then they then they changed the name to the Gathering, and it is basically a time for the conference clergy to come together. There is the gathering of the orders, and that's why they call it the Gathering. So you have the order of elders, order of deacons, and local pastors and associate members. And so they all meet together as groups, excuse me, and have whatever information shared they need to share with that particular group. And then there's typically a keynote speaker on a topic. And this year, I know it's a mandatory training for all clergy. So they either go to the Gathering or they have to make arrangements to take the training at some other time. But it is a conference mandatory training.
Thank you very much. I was trying to figure out, how do I make it sound like this is a big deal, people? You got to get registered. You got to let them know if you can't make it. Thank you, Bob, for taking care of that information, announcement, whatever. And I always wondered what happens at the Gathering. So that's really helpful information. So if you're, contacting your pastor right now or right after Tuesday Talks to find out, have you registered for the Gathering? Don't forget, that still needs to happen. And they happen to ask you, oh, well, where's the registration form? Do you know? So just go to the dscumc.org page and click on calendar. I'll provide you a direct link, but I'm trying to show you guys how to get to things quickly. And then here it is, the Gathering. So you click in there to that event, and here's the registration link. If you wanted to learn more about it, there's a link here that tells you a little bit more about this year's Gathering. All right. Okay. Thanks again, Bob. Yeah.
What did the training entail, Bob? Do you know? We got to unmute you, Bob.
There we go. Actually, it was just of way this and have that information right exactly as needed. Like there is a
Bob, it's really hard to understand you right now. I don't even know how. It looks like you're still muted, but I can hear you, but it sounds really warbly. Is it like that for everybody else?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I did have an email from Khalif.
Christina, can I jump in?
Yes, thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Julie. I put in the chat, it's a cultural competency training that actually has come from the legislation, one of the pieces of legislation that was passed at last year's annual conference session. So our Desert Southwest Conference Commission on Religion and Race is the one that is providing the training for our clergy. It's part of a 5-year plan that we as a conference have approved. And so this is one of the first of the many steps in this 5-year plan to help start really raising more awareness for our clergy around cultural competency. Some of that legislation also will help churches and laity in our churches be better aware of cultural differences, cultural similarities, and it in very practical ways, things like if you have a church that's predominantly all of one ethnicity, and then the bishop and the DS calls and says, oh, you're going to get this pastor, how to really make that a success for both the clergy person and the congregation. For instance, you all know that every church has a staff parish relations committee or an SPRC. So some of the legislation are doing things like training those committees to help understand how to relate to not just pastors, but also staff people and other people that come into your midst that are different, of different cultural backgrounds, whatever culture will look like. So that's a big explanation about that legislation, but also then that specific piece for our clergy that will be happening at the gathering.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Julie. Awesome. Okay, so now there you go. Now you have it. And obviously you're going to get the recording link of today's meeting. So if need be, share that with your pastor. I mean, they'll get it too. But if you talk to them and they ask you more about it, and you don't remember all these details, just tell them, well, here, watch this link. It's towards the beginning of this meeting. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next item. It is, yes, February 20th. It's right around the corner, is DSC Campus Ministry Sunday. And this is a special Sunday that out of an annual conference, I don't know if it's called a resolution or, yeah, I think it was a resolution, where every church would celebrate DSC Campus Ministry. It's different from the general church's Student Sunday, I think it's called, a special Sunday. This is specifically for Desert Southwest Conference Campus Ministries. You can take a special collection for it. You can invite one of the campus ministers to come to your church and talk about campus ministries. You can show some of the worship resources that they released last year as kind of like a mission moment, during worship, or include it in an email to your congregation. However you want to use it, it's up to you. However you want to raise awareness, celebrate, participate. If you're looking for other ways to participate besides what I said, go to dscumc.org/campus-ministry, and you'll find a bullet list of all sorts of different ways to engage with campus ministries. It's incredible to note, well, not to note, but to think about, even if your congregation is an older congregation, you might be thinking, well, we don't have high school students or college students here. Well, the family in your congregation might have high school students or college students. It could be an older person. I'm in college right now, but I'm actually going to be 46 tomorrow, and I'm in college, so I could, at my church, could be talking to me about campus ministries. So it's good information to share. It's part of who we are. If nothing else, let's say there is a situation where there are no students and everybody at your church doesn't have any family members, and so for sure there's no students in connection at my church. It's still a great way to highlight the connectionalism of our churches, and this is one way our church helps to minister out to students in campuses all over Arizona and Nevada. And we do that through our apportionment giving, through this special Sunday giving, or special, however you want to do it, and participate in the campus ministries, either by inviting people to come out to your campus or going out to the campus and helping with whatever ministries that they're doing. Sometimes it's making sandwiches for the students, or participating side by side with the students, making sandwiches to feed the homeless in the area. Who knows? But I highly encourage you to reach out to your local campus ministries, and on that webpage, dscumc.org/campus-ministry, you'll find the contact information for the campus ministry in your area. Okay, last items are about training. And why am I not finding it? There we go. Okay, so it's two separate items. One of them is a new one that just came out from the United Methodist Church called Creating Hybrid Worship Services. The other one is about the Zoom Learning Center. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Okay, so you'll get the link to this direct one. This is a free training, people. this is a really, really good, like, I mean, I've been waiting for something like this. I think a lot of our churches have been waiting for something like this. It's like, you know, I like here in the what will I learn part, determine the best hybrid options for your church, acquire the necessary hardware and software needed for live streaming, know how to effectively use teleconferencing for worship services, understand the best ways to engage with remote participants during worship, learn how to follow up with remote visitors to your hybrid services. I mean, this is all encompassing. So this isn't going to be something that just one person from your church attends. Share this information with your pastor, with whoever it is that leads worship at your church. People that are saying like, well, I'd like to help, but I don't know. They could attend this training. It's free. It's no obligation. It would be a great way for them to realize, oh, I have some of those tech skills, or I've got some of those socializing people skills. I could do the follow-up. You know, they attend this training and it might pique their interest in volunteering at their church, and maybe you expand your online ministry team, your worship team, and even if it's just for a short time, you know, that's another way to think of it. Okay, now I'm sharing this one, the Zoom Learning Center link, with you guys, because once in a while I get an email, a question about how do I do this in Zoom? What else is available with our license? I heard that this new thing is available. So check it out. I will send you guys the link to this. I mean, think about like your new pastor, for example. Maybe your church has been using Zoom for a good while, but has your new pastor been using Zoom for a while? I just worked with one pastor last week that had never scheduled a meeting in Zoom before, but their church was already using Zoom. So it was kind of a scary situation. Yeah, we've been in COVID for a couple years, but not everybody has had to, you know, set up a Zoom meeting or a Zoom webinar instead of a meeting. There's a ton of great trainings in here. You know, it shows courses and learning plans. You could do live trainings. You could just watch the short little videos. Lots and lots of great resources. You might even discover a new feature in Zoom that you hadn't used before. I know like things like the breakout rooms, they're doing different things now with Zoom and breakout rooms. So I encourage you, if you ever have some downtime, even if you're already a veteran with Zoom, check out this training platform. There might be something you might find interesting, or it might make your life a little bit easier. That's all I've got. Anybody else have anything? Yeah, go ahead, Bob. I can hear you somehow.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, can you hear me now? Good?
Mhm.
Okay, so in answer to the question, I think that Jim posed regarding the gathering, the mandatory training is on racial injustice, and it's called Building Bridges. And all clergy in the conference are mandated to take the training. If they don't come to the gathering, then they will have to make arrangements somehow or another on their own hook, on their own dime, if you will. I don't know if there's a cost to it, to get the training other than at the gathering. So, but it is mandatory for all clergy.
All right, thank you, Bob.
You bet.
There's nothing else. That's all I've got. Anybody else have something?
I would just, on a personal note, I would covet everybody's prayers for my sister and our family. My brother-in-law passed away. I don't know whether you heard that part or not earlier, but my brother-in-law passed away this past Wednesday. And so I'm in Roseville, California, tending and helping my sister.
Okay.
And she's 3 years older than I am.
All right. Sorry to hear that news, Bob. You will be in our prayers. Your family will be in our prayers. It's a really tough time to go through something like that. There's never a good time, but
No, that's true. The good part is that the close family here in California were all able to be with him actually when he passed. So thank God for that.
amen. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. And I will be sending you that follow-up email with the links and little notes about what we talked about. Don't forget to think about that church communication liaison position. If you are the pastor that's doing all of that, if you are the church staff communicator that's doing all of that, it's a great mentorship opportunity. It's a great way to get new people involved at your church. And let's face it, pastors and church staff, you're doing a lot already. Why not let some of it go? Let other people help with this. You can still keep in the know. You can still participate in Tuesday talks. Why would you want to miss this, right? But give other people that opportunity to see how God might be developing them into a new leader at their church, in their community, with their family. There's so many great opportunities to be learned by participating in these Tuesday talks and being that church communication liaison. It's how I ended up becoming a United Methodist. I worked at the church, didn't know anything about United Methodism. And the more I learned about it, because I was seeing these communications from the general church and the districts and the conference, the more I became passionate about, this is the church for us. My kids are going to benefit from it. My husband is going to benefit from it. I'm going to benefit from it. And the relationships between each other, we all benefited from it. I'm super grateful to United Methodist Church. And I know it's transformed my life. We've baptized all of our children as United Methodists. And it was really only possible because of that communication position I was in, to see that information coming through about what this church is all about and how it transforms the world. So, think about who might benefit from a position like this and give them that opportunity. Nothing to be lost there. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I hope to see you again next week.
Have a happy birthday.